Today, we announced the feature you've all been waiting for. Unleash the power of node locking with WizardAi. This powerful feature lets you define players' strategies and craft exploits to crush the competition. For many years, poker players have debated the merits of playing a balanced GTO strategy versus an opportunistic exploitative strategy. A GTO strategy seeks to minimize your own leaks, whereas an exploitative strategy seeks to take advantage of your opponent's leaks. So which one should you play? Well, any poker player worth their salt will tell you that the best approach involves using both of these styles. That's why, in today's update, we're introducing a powerful new tool that will allow you to study exploitative tactics so that you can have the best of both worlds. So what is node locking and why is everyone so hyped about it? The word node in poker refers to a decision point. Well, the word lock refers to fixing some strategy in place, locking or preventing it from changing. Node locking is the act of fixing a strategy at some decision point. Thereby, we can input player strategies, allow the solver to exploit those strategies, and crush whatever mistakes have been input. You can use this to model how players actually play, exploit their mistakes, and get absolute max value for the best win rate possible. To unleash the power of node locking, all you need to do is open a solution with WizardAi, set some new strategy, and node lock it. This will force those locked hands to play how you tell them to play, allowing the solver to maximally exploit whatever mistakes you've plugged in. You can use this to learn exploitative tactics to crush your competition. We provide a complete set of tools for everything you'll need. You can set the strategy by hand combination, by hand category, or make sweeping changes to the overall action frequencies. Partial locking is also available, meaning you can lock some hands in a node but not others if you so choose. When you're done, use our new node comparison feature to see a nice side-by-side comparison and evaluate how to adjust from your GTO baseline. Let's open GTO Wizard and see how it works. To get started, build a solution using WizardAi. I've chosen a small blind versus big blind single raise pot 100 bigs deep, and I've chosen this Queen 10-7 flop because anyone can solve this for free. So if you want to test out the features, you want to try out node locking, click the link in the description and follow along. Next, select this lock icon next to any decision point. Here, I'll choose small blind's first action. This will open the node locking dialog. Here you can set the strategy manually, change the overall frequencies, and lock or unlock the range. Setting strategy allows me to define some strategy, and from here I can just paint over the range to change how the solver will play. I can also select and paint over these hand categories, for example, making these sets, 2 pairs, over pairs, and top pairs bet. And I can also paint combinations manually. For example, if I expand ace-3 here, I can apply this strategy to combinations like so. Note that all strategically identical suits within ace-3 will have the same strategy applied to them. In the Set Frequency tab, there are 2 buttons, Overwrite Unlocked and Overwrite All. Now, Overwrite Unlocked will only overwrite hands that are currently unlocked. The lock icon is shown next to any hand whose strategy is now fixed. If I select Overwrite All, then all of these hands can be moved. For example, moving this down will replace some of my previous locks. Let's go ahead and apply a range bet. So I've pushed this up to 100%, indicating that the small blind's just betting any 2 cards for a small size on this flop. Next, I want to lock this strategy in place, so I'll select Lock All. Now, it should be noted that from here you can unlock, lock, and you can also lock manually. So you don't have to lock the entire range. You can choose to only lock some hands in range. When you're done, select this node lock button at the bottom of the page to confirm the strategy. Let's see how Big Blind responds to this new range bet. Here we can see that they are not folding very much at all, only 13% of the time. And they seem to be calling and raising a lot. But the ultimate way to really understand how to adjust your strategy is to use this comparison tab. This will allow us to compare the original solution to the GTO baseline. Here we can see 2 strategies. On the left-hand side, we can see our currently solved strategy, indicated that this one is currently locked. On the right-hand side, we can see the original GTO solution. Note that there is no lock here. Now, one thing that sticks out to me is that the GTO solution is folding a lot more and raising a lot less, whereas the new strategy is using a smaller raise size, only half pot, but it's raising a lot more often and folding a lot less. From here, you can compare the strategy by different hand classes, equity buckets, and draws. You can also choose to examine different types of metrics such as EV, equity, realization, or the range weights. Here, I'm going to choose EV, and this will allow me to see how the expected value changes facing this bet. In the original GTO solution, the big blind only had about 45% EV facing this bet. However, when the small blind is range betting, the big blind has a lot more EV. In fact, they're winning more than half the pot here. About a 10% edge gained from this mistake if they exploit it properly. So I really like this tab in conjunction with node locking because it allows you to learn how to deviate from that GTO baseline and how to adjust your play. Note that they're using different sizes in these two sims because I'm using automatic, which automatically shifts the sizing to maximally exploit whatever mistake you've plugged in. Let's switch up the experiment. What would happen if big blind were to play more aggressively? So here, I'm going to use this set frequency tab. I'm going to lock the folding range in place, and I'm going to make them raise more often. So here they're raising, well, you know what, let's put that up to 30%, a very aggressive raise facing this bet. And I'm going to go ahead and just lock that all in place. Then I'm going to go back to the original small blind node and unlock this action. By unlocking these hands, we've allowed the small blind to alter their strategy. This means that they can adjust in anticipation of the fact that when they bet, the big blind is going to raise very aggressively. And so how does small blind adapt to this fact? How do they anticipate this? Well, they adapt by checking quite a bit more often. And moreover, they're using a pretty value-heavy strategy favoring some of these very strong hands. Comparing this to the original GTO baseline, we can use this compare nodes feature. And here we can see our current strategy on the left, but I want to see the GTO strategy on the right, not this. So I'm going to use this drop-down and select this unlocked GTO strategy. Here we can see when we know that the big blind is very aggressive, the small blind tends to check more often, only betting about 40% of the time, whereas in a GTO strategy, they were splitting about 50-50, so definitely playing a bit more passively. Also, we can see that their overall range construction contains many more strong hands relative to trash hands, whereas in the GTO strategy, we put more middling stuff in there. Putting in the bet and facing the raise, we can see that, well, the small blind's not folding very often at all, only 14.7% of the time. This is a combination of the fact the big blind is bluffing more often and also that we've decided to bet a more value-heavy range. Instead of folding or calling, what the solver mainly likes doing is re-raising, a very aggressive strategy meant to fight fire with fire. If you want to try node locking for free, go check out the link in the description. Play around with it, let us know what you think and what you'd like to see next. This update also introduces many new user interface improvements to help deliver the ultimate trading experience, as well as thousands of new solutions. You can read more about that in our patch notes article linked below. And guys, get ready to see a lot of great exploitative content coming in the near future. So if you don't want to miss out, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, and hit the like button. That's all for now. Happy grinding.